Welcome to another edition of Wildcat Country presented by Harrah's Auction Casino. Eric Cohen and Shane Dale, we are in the middle of May, and I'll tell you what, when we were doing this podcast last August, we thought, okay, the football team maybe makes a bowl game. Basketball team maybe makes a little bit of a run. Baseball and softball, I mean, probably not going to give us much entertainment. Shane, I'll tell you what, this has been, in my eyes, one of the most unpredictable Arizona sports years in the main sport. I mean, and the women's team, technically won an NCAA tournament game, basketball. So, I mean, of your five major sports, plus tennis made it to the Sweet 16. Yeah. They came up so close against Columbia last week. I mean, truly an incredible year in Arizona athletics.
Well, you think about this is the last Pac-12 season, as we know it. Football finished third, which is a heck of an account. They were Pac-12 South champions, if that was still a thing.
Yeah.
Men's basketball, Pac-12 champions. Baseball on the verge, hopefully gets there. Women's basketball makes the tournament. Softball headed to regionals, and hopefully we'll make some noise. And we'll chat with. I'll let you tease the guest. And then like you mentioned, men's tennis. So Arizona athletics is definitely overall going out with a bang in terms of Pac-12 play, and a lot of it has been pleasant surprises, like you said.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we have a lot to discuss on this program. Allie Skaggs, one of the stars of the softball team before they head to Fayetteville, Arkansas this weekend, going to join us in segment 2. And then in segment 3, we're going to debut something a little bit different. Our favorite memories from a random year. Shane, I'm going to just pick a year, and whatever comes to your mind for that year in Arizona sports history, whatever your favorite memories, we're going to do that from now until football season. Just pick a different year. And for those of you out there, give us your favorite memories from that year, whether it's on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, or YouTube. By all means, let us know your favorite memories. Do you agree, disagree with us, whatnot? But before we get going, it is time for Shane's standouts. You got anything for us this week?
Of course I do. I want to shout out a pair of Pac-12 champions, Eric, to start off. Sir Jonathan Sims, that is his name, Sir Jonathan Sims. Mm-hmm. He won the men's triple jump at the Pac-12 championships in Colorado last weekend, had a personal best of 52 feet, which I'm pretty sure I can jump maybe 1/10 that far. So congrats to Sir Jonathan. And then Emma Gates won the women's high jump with a jump of 6 feet 2 inches, which is 3 inches taller than I am. So congrats to Emma as well on their Pac-12 individual championships. Baseball side of things, Andrew Kane, freshman first baseman from Oro Valley, had a fantastic 3 games last week, 1 against ASU and then 2 at Utah. He went 6 of 11 with 6 RBIs and hit a home run in all 3 of those games. He was a big reason why Arizona took the series from Utah and is 1 win away from winning the Pac-12. And then you already mentioned this, Eric, but I want to give a shout out to the entire men's tennis team. Yeah, we had Coach Clancy Shields on last week, gracious with his time in New York City before their showdown against at Columbia. It came down to like you said, to the very last set. They kind of rallied because it looked like they lost the doubles point, and then they lost a couple of individual matches early, and it looked like they were going to be eliminated quick. They rallied, and it came down to the last set of the last match, and they came up just short. But look, Pac-12 regular season champs, Pac-12 tournament champs, head coach Clancy Shields has a lot to be proud of. So congrats to the men's tennis team on a fantastic season, and we are excited to watch them tear up the Big 12 next year.
You said it perfectly there, and it was really cool having Coach Shields on last week. What a cool guy. I wasn't on the first time that we had him on, and let's hope we bring Allie Skaggs better luck than we brought Coach Shields last week. You can't win them all, right? Yeah. All right, this is Buy or Sell presented by our friends at Ice Shaker. Go to iceshaker.com. Use promo code Wildcat Country, capital W, capital C, and get $5 off. After you buy your Ice Shaker, make sure to fill out the post-purchase survey, mention Wildcat Country, and Shane and I will be very, very happy with you. All right, Shane. Number one, this isn't necessarily a buy or sell, but, roll with it here. Rank them. You can have 1 year of Caleb Love, 1 to 2 years of KJ Lewis, or 1 to 2 years minimum of Josan Sanon.
Well, my first choice would, it's almost like 5 choices. You have 1 to 2 years of KJ Lewis, or 1 to 2 years. I know we would only get maximum of 1 year of Caleb Love. If we could get, I purposely didn't think about this because I wanted to think about it as we were talking about it, and now I wish I had actually come up with some answers. I would say if I get 2 years of KJ Lewis, just based on what we know, I'd probably take that. I mean, Sanon I know can be fantastic, but we don't know yet. And I think KJ Lewis certainly has the potential to be a star. If we can get him for 2 years, Caleb Love for 1 year, I think would be great. But I think to me, it comes down to 2 years of KJ Lewis or 1 year of Caleb Love, not discounting Sanan, but we just don't know what he's going to do at the college level yet. I would probably go 2 years of KJ Lewis, especially because, 2 years, you don't take more than 1 year for granted in college basketball anymore. But I resent you for opening with such a hard question because I've really struggled.
I'm telling you what. So here's my take on it. I think KJ Lewis is the number one priority here, just because he has the staying power. I mean, it could be 2 or 3 years. If he
Maybe.
gets paid good NIL money and
Yeah.
maybe he's not
Yeah.
right for the NBA. So there are rumors out there that Jaden Bradley may not be happy if Caleb Love comes back, or KJ Lewis may not be happy. Same with Sanon, he may not come if Caleb Love comes back. What I'm doing if I'm Tommy Lloyd is I'm thinking, okay, wait a second. KJ, you good? Jaden, you good? All right. So Caleb, are you in or are you out? Well, we got to make up. I know you're going through it, but like, what are we doing here? I'm making sure the first two are happy. And I think we saw that with Tommy Lloyd and Krivas, where Krivas probably leaves if Ballo comes back for a year. So I think,
Maybe.
and you may have 2 to 3 more years of Krivas. So that's why I'm going to those younger guys. I'm saying, what do you like here first? If they say, you know what, hey, we're good with Caleb coming back, great. All right. Then Sanon is last. If they say no, we're not coming back. If Caleb's back, then Caleb is last. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And I think like with Caleb Love, it's no pun intended at all, but kind of the love-hate relationship, just because, we love a guy who's willing to take over games, but also, taking, 30 footers when you need a 2-point basket late in the game. You take the good and the bad, and of course is him not showing up in the NCAA tournament. So I think I don't discount having a player of his caliber back for another season, especially because I think he stepped up defensively. I think Tommy Lloyd and the staff really challenged him to improve his game, and he could have told them, look, go pound sand. I'm already great. I was great at North Carolina, but he didn't. He challenged himself to get better, and I think that shows a lot of character. So I wouldn't discount having him back, but I think longer term, locking a couple of years of KJ Lewis, I would love to see what he can do given a couple more years.
One of my favorite websites, collegefootballnews.com. Pete Futak is the managing editor. We've had him on the program a few times. We would like to have him on here again soon. Now, he was doing his Big 12 preview, just kind of a generic overview, and he named the Texas Tech at Arizona game as the number 6 Big 12 game of 2024. Buy or sell, Shane, this is the most exciting home game Arizona has all season.
If you're a casual Big 12 fan, maybe, but if you're an Arizona fan, no. No, to me, ASU is number 1. It just is, because it's ASU. And Colorado, because of everything going on with Deion Sanders, is number 2. I think fans are going to be most excited for those 2 games. I think they're more, put it this way, I think they're more likely to sell out those games, or at least come close to it, than the Texas Tech game at this point, just knowing Arizona football fans as we do. They're not all like you, that you're there, rain or shine, no matter what. But I think, especially having the momentum back over the Sun Devils and a chance to win a 3rd straight against them. And then, Colorado making headlines for better or worse with Deion and his son not knowing when to shut their mouth, or maybe it's a strategic thing that they keep running it. Colorado's become a villain now. And whether they're a worthy villain or not, we'll see. They could end up, they could lose before anyone else does in the FBS. They went up playing North Dakota State this season. But to me, I think if you ask most Arizona fans, not because of especially because of the history with those 2 programs and with Colorado as it is now, those are the 2 home games they'd be most excited about. But as far as like a Big 12 macro view, the casual Big 12 fan, I could see Arizona, Texas Tech being number 1.
All right. Normally, I like to disagree with you here slightly. I am 100% in agreement with what you just said. Literally, there's nothing I can add. The only thing about Arizona, Texas Tech, it is Arizona's first Big 12 home game ever. So if you're looking for a storyline there, sure, I would put it number 3, but ASU 1, Colorado homecoming as well. That's number 2. And then, of course, number 3 would be Texas Tech, in my opinion. Okay. All right, Shane, speaking of, not wanting to own my errors, Arizona's 1 game away in baseball from winning the outright Pac-12 regular season title, something that we thought, or at least I thought, was impossible at the start of the year. So
even a month ago. Yeah.
Even a month ago. Right. It's time for me to own my mistake. Chip Hale deserves a contract extension if Arizona wins 1 game this weekend and the Pac-12 regular season title. Buy or sell?
So you want to see a little more from this team before you make that leap.
Yeah, you can't get, you got to, if he wins 1 game, he gets an extension. Buy or sell?
I think we've seen enough enough progress from this team already. I mean, look, it wouldn't be good if they got swept and they didn't win another game this season for sure. But I think that he probably has earned one. I mean, he's got a 5-year contract, but he's got 2 years left on it. You want to lock it in before it gets too close to the end of it. I think that he's done enough to turn the program around, and I think especially with the pitching, I think that was the big question: can we get pitching in here? And Arizona has 3 of the best, if not the 3 best starting pitchers in the Pac-12, and that's remarkable. So I think he's probably already earned it, whether you want to give it to him, this season or next season. But I don't know how much more they have to prove this year, especially, I know our expectations change as the weeks go, but I mean, a month ago, if you would have said, this team is going to, finish second in the Pac-12, I think we all would have taken it. So I'm just looking at it from that perspective.
All right. I give him one more game, and then I'd probably throw a couple of years on there. What he's done with a team that was picked 9th out of 11 in the preseason in baseball, and you win the Pac-12 regular season title, which is a pretty darn good conference outright. Yeah. I mean, I will eat my words there. I was wrong. Now, if you get swept, I might pose this question again next week. I don't expect that to happen. I think Arizona wins at least one this weekend, takes care of business, and is the number 1 seed going into Scottsdale and the Pac-12 tournament next week. So
I'll just throw out one more thing here is kind of going sideways a bit, but Arizona was ranked number 21 by Baseball America this week. They were ranked higher in most, like D1 Baseball had them as high as 14. Oregon was ranked 20th.
I saw that.
Oregon is in 3rd or 4th place in the Pac-12, and their RPI is not anywhere close to where Arizona is. So I'm interested to see how they factor that in. But a little bit of I think they're properly valued by most organizations. But Baseball America, I mean, having them 21, I think is fine. Having Oregon ahead of them or having the Oregon ranked at all just perplexes me. But that's just me.
It is some Arizona hate. We know it's always out there, and I guess. There you go again. All right, let's continue with baseball. They have an RPI of 26 now, Shane?
Yep.
So what do they need to do to host a regional in the NCAA tournament, if it's even possible at this point?
I haven't seen updated projections from Baseball America or D1 Baseball this week. By the time this podcast is out there, they might be up. But last week, both of those organizations had Arizona just outside the top 16. In other words, just outside of hosting a regional. I think that winning 2 of 3 at Utah might be enough to get them back in, at least as of the projections for this week, which again we haven't seen. I think they need a strong finish, but I think one of the either you take 2 out of 3 from Oregon State, which is still the best team in the Pac-12 despite the rankings or the standings. Oregon State's the best team in the Pac-12. You take 2 out of 3 from them at home, really quality wins, or you go on and maybe you win one of those games and you win the Pac-12 tournament. I think either or would be enough, especially if they took one against Oregon State and then they win the Pac-12 tournament. I mean, are you really going to keep the Pac-12 regular season and tournament champions out of hosting a regional?
You cannot. No, you can't. Yeah. Simple as that. I think you have to win the Pac-12 tournament. Win one game this weekend. I think you're right. I think anything short of that, and they're probably going on the road like softball is.
Yeah, and then they're first in the Pac-12. They have the number 1 non-conference strength of schedule in this country, according to WarrenNolan.com.
Wow.
They've won 23 of their last 27 games, I believe, which I think matters as well. How you finish is important. So, it always matters what other teams do as well. But I think you take 2 out of 3 against Oregon State or just take 1 and win the conference tournament. I think that would be enough.
All right. Speaking of postseason, softball got their draw. We're going to have Allie Skaggs coming up next segment.
No.
Buy or sell, Arizona got a pretty good draw going back to Fayetteville where they have been before.
Yeah, well, it's a familiar trip with them, like you said, for the Arizona. Like you said, in Mike Candrea's final season as head coach at Arizona, they traveled to Fayetteville for the Super Regionals and ended up sweeping Arkansas to get to the College World Series. And I actually remember you and I talking about it. You predicted they would win, and I doubted them, so I'll give you props for that. It's not
one of the rare times I got one right.
That's why I remember it. Look, it's not an awful draw. Arizona should be able to get past Villanova and Southeast Missouri State. Arkansas does have one of the better pitchers in the country in Robin Heron, who has a 1.68 ERA this season. But Arizona's hit pretty well against some of the better pitchers in the Pac-12 recently. And if you look at RPI, Arkansas is 14, Arizona's 18. So it's a pretty even matchup, though Arkansas has lost 4 of its last 6 games. And, the way it's seeded too, it's not quite like this, but basically, like if you're the number 1 overall seed, you're going to be paired. Like the next best team is going to be like if there was a number 32 seed, and then
Right.
231, and then it kind of closes in. So that tells me Arizona wasn't that far out from actually hosting the regional themselves. So it's a pretty even matchup. Arkansas has the home field advantage, but Arizona's been there, done that. I don't think it's going to bother them.
All right. Well, coming up next, let's ask Allie Skaggs what she thinks of the draw here in Wildcat Country. But before we do that, let me remind you that our main sponsor is none other than Harrah's Auction Casino, which is the only Valley casino with Caesars Rewards, the player's card that pays for Vegas and more. In fact, the reward credits you earn with Caesars Rewards can be redeemed for hotel stays, dining, and more at 50 destinations across the country, including Las Vegas, Lake Tahoe, New Orleans, and dozens of others. Sign up, play, and earn Caesars Rewards only at Harrah's Auction Casino. One card, 50 destinations to enjoy your perks. Now, Mike Kintner is our buddy. He is the GM of Harrah's Auction Casino. We have had him on the show before. We will have him on again this summer. He is an outspoken Arizona fan. He goes to a lot of the games, season ticket holder for football and basketball. Support him. Have a great time out there in Maricopa. It's a really cool place to stay. Check it out. I know you're going to head out there this summer, Shane. I might as well. Check that out, Harrah's Auction Casino. Coming up next, Allie Skaggs here in Wildcat Country.
What's up, Wildcat Country? Chris Gronkowski here, and I'm at the Ice Shaker Warehouse, the proud sponsor of the Wildcat Country podcast. And I got something new and exciting to show you. We're talking about the 4D printed University of Arizona shaker bottles with the Legacy Championships on it. Check it out now at iceshaker.com.
Shane, on our May 31st, 2022 episode, we had none other than the great Allie Skaggs join us, and that was when Arizona was going to Oklahoma City in softball. Now, last year, unfortunately, they missed the playoffs, but this year they're back at it. And you know what, Allie? Now that you're back on with us, I'm feeling good things. So let me ask you right off the bat, why the 2024 version of Arizona? Why can you girls make a run to OKC again?
Yeah, I think the thing about our team is we're going to be competitive no matter who we play. So I think that that's the thing that is fortunate about our group of girls, is that put us up against anyone in the country and we're going to give them a competitive game. So that's what I feel like right now. The positive with us is that we're hitting a stride, especially in the Pac-12 tournament. We played 2 really competitive games there against Washington and UCLA. And so we're feeling good going into Arkansas. A lot of us have played in Fayetteville before, several times for some of us. So some of us know exactly what environment we're about to get into, but I think you're going to get a competitive game from us. So it's just a matter of which team plays better softball.
Yeah. And we, like you mentioned, you know how familiar you are with Fayetteville from 3 years ago, and then hopefully the result is similar this time. So you've been to the College World Series a couple times now. You know what it takes to get there. Have you taken on sort of a leadership role on this team as far as telling some of the new faces what it takes to handle that pressure, win on the road, and get to OKC?
Yeah, definitely. I think our team, I think the good thing for us is that we have quite a few veterans that have played at the World Series. So we know what it takes to get there. And then honestly, I'm not going to lie, especially this big sophomore class, they kind of learned last year what it took to compete and win some big games. So I don't think that any of them will think that the moment is too big, which is exciting, in my opinion, just to have a couple of young kids that I feel like I'm not worried about them if the stands are crazy and if everyone is against us going on the road, especially at somewhere like Arkansas and then ultimately in Oklahoma City. I think our team's prepared for it, and we've kind of just been able to I've told a lot of the younger girls, hey, Arkansas is going to be fun and it's going to be loud and it's going to be crazy and the fans are going to go nuts. But our team, we're very fortunate that we host a ton of fans throughout the year at Rita for our own stadium. So we're used to playing in front of bigger crowds. So it's not going to be something that's totally out of the ordinary for us.
You've been with Coach Lowe since she became the head coach at Arizona. Just from a player's perspective, Allie, how have you seen her develop in that role and find ways for the program to improve and keep moving forward?
Yep. I think you can just tell that she's gotten much more comfortable as a head coach. I feel like she was the assistant for so long, so she was able to kind of be a mentee under Coach Candrea. So her now, I think you can just see that she is like more confident in her decision making, and just with her players too, like the relationships that she's built. And she, even in the last couple of weeks, I can tell that she's starting to get a little like sassy back with some of our sassy players. So it's fun to see that type of, it's just more of like a friendship and that type of communication where it doesn't feel as much like player to coach. It's peer to peer with her, it's nice. And especially at this level too, that's kind of what I feel like collegiate players thrive off of, is when you have someone that you feel like you can relate to on that level. So I think she's just gotten more comfortable as a leader, and she's kind of started to find her own voice too. Because I know that she was a kind of put your head down and go play type of player when she was at the U of A. But I think she's starting to find her own identity too, and then try and instill that in her team as well.
All right, I'm not looking for bulletin board material here, Allie, but when you saw the draw come out, number 2 seed going to Fayetteville, and then if you were to get past that, facing Oklahoma State in the next round, did you think it was a good draw, a bad draw? Just your opinion when you first saw it.
Yeah, honestly, I almost just chuckled because we were going to Arkansas, because we've played there twice already as some of us. So I'm not going to lie, when Arkansas came up and they hadn't posted the other 3 seeds, I was like, there is a very likely chance that we are going to be placed in this one. So when we were placed there, I wasn't surprised at all, just because we have history there. Our team, I was able to go there as a freshman and play super regionals there. So we got to play some competitive games, and we've played them quite a few times in my career so far. So I think it's just, I enjoy the fact that we get to go back. I loved the environment when we played them for supers. So I thought that that's going to be awesome. As for just the journey in general, no matter where you go for regionals, super regionals, it's going to be tough. Even if you're hosting at home, you're going to be placed, like you said, if we go to Oklahoma State, like that's going to be a tough matchup for them as well. So there's no pushover teams when you get down to regionals and super regionals. There's truly anyone can beat anyone. So anywhere we get placed, you still have to beat a good team. So we got to beat people anyways at some point. So you might as well go through them early and then get to OKC.
Has it hit you yet, Allie, that this is however things turn out, this is it for you at Arizona? Like, this is your last run, and I know you don't need any more motivation, but have you just thought just how awesome it would be just to get at least get to the College World Series one more time?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like especially with the senior group too, there's a few of us left that came in as freshmen together and are now seniors together that still play. And that's something that I want to go out on the highest note with them. They're a group that I've been so thankful to play with, especially on the right side with Carly Scoopin. She's someone that has been a day one for me, and there's no one else I'd rather go out with at first base than her. But yeah, there's definitely a little bit of an itch with our senior group, and just the sense of, hey, we're pretty good, so we might as well prove it one more time in a postseason run. So yeah, we're excited. I don't know, it hasn't fully hit me yet as a senior, but I'm trying not to let it before we have to actually, because I'm the type that you just go compete, and then at the end of the game you can be emotional if something happens. But no, I'm kind of just, I'm locked in at the moment. I expect us to win, so I am going to continue to use that mindset, and whatever happens along the way, you kind of just react based off of that.
Yeah, on a personal level, I think you've racked up just about as many accolades as possible for an individual. But you, just a few days ago, were named the Pac-12 Scholar Athlete of the Year, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Phenomenal accomplishment. And I think you're the 3rd Wildcat to win that award. And Eric, you might know one of the others, Jesse Harper, has been a guest on this show multiple times as well. I always wonder how student athletes find the time between practice and games and travel to not only get their schoolwork done, but to do it well and maintain a high GPA. How have you been able to really successfully balance softball with academics?
Yeah, honestly, what I like, especially like the incoming recruits, is that you'll be fine if you dedicate the time to your academics as well as your athletics. If you have time, if you make it. So yes, the practice schedule is tough, but at the end of the day, that's 4 hours out of your day, and you still have the rest of your day to, if you use it well, you're going to be fine. And so I like to tell girls, it's what you make it. So if you're going to take the time to do your schoolwork, and you're going to care about your grades and all these different things, I like to tell the girls, like, you have to try to fail. There's too many things for us and too many resources for us to use for us to not succeed in school. So with our CATS Academic Center and tutoring and all these different things, that study hall for our younger kids that have to go in and do their work, there's so many things for us to use that I feel like you just have to be the one that's proactive and go use them, and you'll be fine.
When your softball career is over, Allie, whenever that might be, I know on the UA website, it says you want to stay in sports, possibly become a video editor and broadcaster. Yep. Is that still the plan long-term when softball's done?
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of open to anything at this point. I don't really have a set plan. I think if an opportunity like that were to come up, I would love to. I love the media side of things, and I definitely want to stay around sports, whether it's broadcast or content creation, anything like that. I'm also extremely interested in coaching. So if there's an opportunity to coach, I think I would like to coach at the collegiate level. I don't know in what capacity. I don't know, head coach, assistant coach. I don't really know yet. I haven't fully given my thought to it, but I love coaching and giving back, especially I like coaching the younger ones too. So if I happen to be around, I like doing like lessons on the side as well. So I think I'm not worried about finding something and landing on my feet. It's just a matter of actually putting my brain toward it and not worrying about only playing softball and worrying about what's coming next.
I thought just several times, and I mean this during our chat, that you sound like a coach. So that's just where my brain went. So I think
I'm going to add a +1 to that as well.
Yeah.
You really do. I mean, you have this coaching mentality. So I know you want to do other things. I think that might be a pretty good avenue for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The last question for you, Allie, and we appreciate your time. As I know you're about to head out to Fayetteville tomorrow, as we're recording this on a Tuesday night. I know you're not going to be with Arizona next year, but the end of the Pac-12, I know you have so many great rivalries there, obviously with UCLA and facing, I know, a couple of former teammates a couple of times in the last several weeks. Your thoughts on the end of the Pac-12 and just maybe some of your maybe what you'll miss most about this conference?
Yeah, honestly, the thing that I feel like is most like sad and hits me is how competitive the Pac-12 is from top to bottom. There truly is. Every year, I swear, I feel like the entire Pac-12 just beats up on each other, no matter who it is, whether it's number 1, number 9, anyone beats anyone. And the games are always so competitive. Like you can't look past or give away any games because anyone can beat anyone. So that's what I'm going to miss is that you look up and down and it's UCLA, and then the next week, and hey, you have Washington, and then hey, you have Oregon. You're playing top 25 teams the entire year. So, but top to bottom. So I think that's the one thing I'm gonna miss a ton. I joke with some of the girls because I'm like, have fun in the Big 12. Like I'll watch on TV. I don't have to go, but you guys have a good time. No, I think they're gonna be great, and I think moving to the Big 12 is going to be a great opportunity for our girls to really show the nation how good Arizona softball is and to prove how much we stack up against some other really elite programs.
All right, 2 more for you, Allie. Of all the individual accomplishments that you've done, and I mean, reading the list, like we could go on for 10 minutes and read everything that you've accomplished. On an individual level, what are you most proud of that you've done at Arizona?
Oh, gosh. 2 came to my head. The All-American honor was one that I wanted to get so badly, and that was to have the 110 up on the right field wall on Rita that says 110th All-American. That was me. Then that you can't take that away. So I think that I was so just blown away by that. And then the Gold Glove Award, I think, just because I feel like my entire life I focused very, very heavily on offense and was always a good defensive player. Like I made my plays. I was never someone that couldn't play defense, but to be able to prove that I am one of the best in the country at my position was really awesome, just because I feel like I had always been known for my offense and my hitting. And it was really cool to get recognized and feel like that was kind of just the reward for becoming a truly like complete player at this high of a level.
Incredible. I mean, seriously, the laundry list of what you've won. I mean, it's truly incredible, and Arizona softball will miss you greatly. All right, last one for you. So Shane and I in our next segment are going to debut something new, which is our favorite memory from a year or favorite game. So you get to start. What is your favorite game of your career, and what is your favorite game of this season?
Of my career?
The one that stands out the most.
You've only played a couple of hundred, Allie. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
The one that came to my head first was my sophomore year super regionals against Mississippi State, when we were down 1-0 against Mississippi State, and Mia Davidson had hit a solo home run in I think the 5th inning, and I came up in the 6th and tied it up with a solo shot. And then 2 innings later, Izzy in the 8th hit a home run to go ahead 2-1 to us. And funny story, I was actually in the bathroom when she hit the home run, so I was sprinting out of the bathroom trying to button up my pants and everything to celebrate with her winning that game. And I just remember the feeling of I hit the ball to right field, and I just remember screaming like, go, go, please, like just get out. And that was one of the highlights of my career, is just that moment. And they got a really cool like video of it and stuff that I get to go back and watch and just remember. That one stands out to me as that just felt good. And that's when I feel like we kind of knew, we were like, okay, we're going to go to the World Series. Like we felt like winning that game kind of solidified it, even though we had to win the next day too. It just it gave us a bonus little boost.
How about this year? What's your favorite game this year? Yeah.
I have a guess. I'm going to see. Go ahead. I'm going to see if I'm right.
You have a guess already?
Well, I was thinking your return to Louisville. You hit a home run back.
Yeah, what? Okay, definitely. Louisville, for like memories wise, Louisville was the absolute coolest game, probably of my career, honestly. Yeah. That's the one, just nostalgia wise, definitely the Louisville game. I wish we would have won. I'll say that. But it was awesome to go back and play in front of, I probably had close to 100 people, from friends and family friends and people just sitting in the stands, like wearing Skaggs shirts and all these different things. And that one, to be able to play at Ulmer Stadium, which is where I got to play like a bunch of my high school regional softball games at, nice. Which is actually where I got to come head to head with Coach Josh Bloomer, who is now on staff with us. He coached my rival high school. So him and I played each other at Ulmer Stadium almost every year. So getting to go back and play on his team at Ulmer was really cool. Yeah, that was unreal to go play back on that field, because I've been playing on that field since I was in 7th grade. And so that was awesome. No, yeah, the Louisville game was amazing. I'm trying to think of one that
I think walking off against ASU a couple of times was
that was amazing. That was amazing. ASU comes to mind, and then probably beating UCLA felt great on game 2. That felt really good. I will say that. It always feels good to take one from the Bruins. But no, there's so many games and so many memories. I could talk about it for hours.
No, you did great. And that's what Shane and I are going to reminisce on our favorite Arizona sports moments. And you started it off in a perfect way. Allie, we brought you luck. Well, we think we brought you a little luck a couple years ago. We hope to do so again. Thank you for representing our university so well. And we wish you nothing but the best. Hope to have you on again in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you guys want, I'm here for it. Thank you guys for having me.
Discover more Play for All at Harrah's Auction Casino.
Hi folks, here are your drinks.
Where having fun means racking up reward credits with the Caesars Rewards loyalty program that can be redeemed for food, free play, hotel stays, and more. Not only here in the city of Maricopa, but also at more than 50 Caesars properties coast to coast. From Harrah's Las Vegas to Caesars Palace in Atlantic City. What are you waiting for? Play for All at Harrah's Auction Casino, the official sponsor of Play.
Thanks to Allie Skaggs for joining us. Great to catch up with her, and hopefully we get some luck out of the softball team like they did a couple years ago when we had her on. Shane, another one of our sponsors is Autograph. You want to tell us more about them?
Yeah, you can find Wildcat Country on Autograph, which was founded by Tom Brady, who had a roast of note recently. And the whole idea of Autograph is to reward college sports fans simply for being fans. You download the Autograph app, and you do us a big favor by subscribing to the Arizona channel using referral code Wildcat Country. That's one word, all lowercase. You're going to find pretty much all the Arizona-related media content you already consume all in one place, including our podcast, which is most important, of course. And for every story you read, every podcast episode you download, you'll accrue points that you can use to buy some cool stuff. So definitely check us out on Autograph, subscribe to our Arizona channel using the referral code I mentioned, and you're going to help us out. And we think you're going to really like the app and get all your Arizona Wildcats news, including ours, all in one spot.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that, as you said, find all of the best content. Shane and I read it. We listen to it. And so the fact that we're a part of it, pretty cool. So, all right. New segment for our new idea for our final segment. We're going to do this up until football season. I'm going to pick a year it'll be between 2000 and 2024. And every week I'll just pick it out randomly, and we'll just think of, whatever favorite U of A sports memories come to mind. The first one that I'm going to choose, Shane, is going to be 2004, 2005, selfishly because that was my senior year in college. And I have a few of them that I'm going to start with, but the one that stands out to me is September 18th, 2004, Arizona hosted Wisconsin in a game at Arizona Stadium. And I happened to be calling the game for camp radio. I was up in the open air part of the press box, and there happened to be the remnants of a hurricane that had blown into Tucson that day.
No, that's right.
So I'm up there in a, I don't know if you remember the game I'm talking about.
Yeah. I think you've actually talked to me about this before during the original version of this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm remembering a few years ago. So no, continue.
So I'm up there dressed in, the sport coat and the tie and that whole deal. And it was the only game I've ever been to where there wasn't a halftime after the second quarter because there was a lightning delay in the first half. And then they just came out of the tunnel, right after the second quarter, they started the third quarter. Anyways, 9-7 comes down to a field goal. I believe it was a 47-yard attempt by one Nick Folk, who was a new kicker at the time and is now one of the great kickers in the last, long time of NFL history, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So Nick Folk comes on, and I say, for camp radio, I say, Nicholas Folk can fire the shot heard around Tucson if he hits this one. And I'm trying to have like a famous call that maybe could go viral, whatever.
Trying to make a name for yourself, Al.
Yeah. And the kick is on the way. It is no good. He missed it. Yep. Figures.
Nick
Typical
Folk
Arizona.
was terrible his first year. It's amazing. I mean, I love the success he's had, but he missed more kicks than he made his freshman year, if I remember right. He was
not good. He was not good at all. He was not good at all. So it was something. So that was one that I remember. Then the next week, right after that, on September 25th, Arizona played Washington State, and it was an afternoon game, and there weren't a lot of people at the game, but I went. It was nice weather, a little hot outside, and I went and I was in like the second row of the student section at 50-yard line.
Okay. And
I remember I was recording the game at home or at my college apartment because Keith Jackson was calling it.
Oh.
He's a Washington State alum. And of course, in typical Arizona fashion, all they needed to do, they were winning the game in the final 2 minutes. All they needed to do was take a knee. They handed it to Gilbert Harris, and right in front of me, I see the ball pop up in the air. They fumbled, and Washington State threw a touchdown and won the game. And I got home and I actually watched the end. Keith Jackson said, "This is the first time in my career I said a game was over," and it wasn't. But then again, I guess since I have a lot of memories of that year, and I guess I'll just do football for now. The ASU game. Do you remember that game? Mike Stoops' first.
Yeah. No, that was it was Mike Stoops' first signature win as Arizona head coach. In fact, for my book, I talked to him about that game as well as all the others he coached in against ASU, and I talked to one Richard Kovalchuk, who was the quarterback the second half of that season for Arizona, and threw 3 touchdowns in that game. I remember the Andrew Walter, ASU starting quarterback. He got hurt late in that game. Sam Keller, who ended up transferring to Nebraska, came in
and making all this NIL stuff possible is because of Sam Keller, basically. Yeah. And
he almost led ASU back. Arizona was up 2 scores. ASU cut the lead to a touchdown. And I remember that game ended on a drop pass on 4th down. It was an ASU tight end who dropped it, and I don't remember who it was. If you're listening, let us know. But I remember it was an easy catch. It would have gotten him a first down to move the chains. He dropped it. And it was Mike Stoops' first big win at Arizona. Mike Bell had a big game. Mm-hmm. I got Mike Bell back here. I got his autograph under my mini helmet so you can see it.
Nice.
Rushed for over 100 yards. But it was the very beginning of a long process of turning around the football program, which I still don't think Mike Stoops gets enough credit for. It was his first big win there, only their 3rd win of the season, and it was the best that Arizona fans had probably felt for years.
The last time I rushed the field at Arizona Stadium was that day in 2004. It was before cell phones could take good pictures, but I have a picture of me on the field at Arizona Stadium from that day, and I will never rush the field.
Are you going to post it
again?
Post it on social?
No, it's so blurry, Shane. Like this camera was really, we did not have the technology back then.
It's like one of those blue Nokia phones?
Yeah, right. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Or no, it was like I think it was like a Nextel, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Where the first camera phone it was 4 years before the iPhone.
Yeah, it was bad.
But it was a good memory. Those 3 football games I will never forget. All right, give me your memory from that.
Year. That was the ASU game was mine, so you stole it. But I will. It's funny that you chose that season 04-05 because definitely one of my least favorite memories came later in that season, and then you could probably guess what it was. But yeah, I was looking back, and I think I remember watching that. I didn't go to the game. I actually didn't. I've gone to a lot more games as an alum than I did as a student, even when I worked at the Daily Wildcat. And actually, I was I graduated the year before that. I was a year ahead of you. So I remember watching that from my my apartment, I think in Chandler at the time. But yeah, I remember that game, and I remember thinking, okay, maybe this is because ASU was a good team that year too. They were ranked in the top 25. That was a big upset. That was a genuinely big upset. So that would have been my favorite from that season.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to steal that, but there's a couple. We're not going to bring up the Illinois game. I mean, that was what it was.
No, you just did.
You remember January 15th, 2005? You remember what that basketball game was?
I don't.
I was standing behind the basket, or not, I was sitting behind the basket, standing in this moment. Salim Stoudemire hit a three-pointer from way behind the three-point line. Brent Musburger and Brent Musburger and Steve Lavin were on the call. And you can find it. And I remember I was behind that basket where Arizona made a comeback. And Stoudemire, who's still one of my favorite college basketball players, probably my favorite college basketball player, made a long three in that one. And then I was in Tempe on March 5th to watch the shot where some ASU fans think that he traveled.
He traveled, yeah. One of the guys I worked with, it's like, I was at that game where he traveled and you guys beat us. Yeah.
I had pretty good. I was pretty low. I think one of the lowest I've ever sat at a basketball game. For that game, he didn't travel. It's garbage. But anyways, those are memories from the first year. We'll come up with another one another year next week. We'll see what racks our memories. That one just for me had more meaning just because it was my last year in college. And, so normally I won't have 5 games to pick out, but let
us know, on YouTube and on X, let us know what your favorite memories from that season are. And we'll share some of them.
Thanks to our sponsors, Harrah's Auction Casino, and of course, Ice Shaker. To Allie Skaggs for joining us. Great to catch up with her, and best of luck to the softball team. Come on, baseball, take care of business this weekend. How many do they win against Oregon State, Shane?
Oh, I'll be optimistic. They're going to ride the wave. They're going to drive that home field and take 2 out of 3. I
will agree with you. Will Arizona softball still be playing next week?
After talking to Allie, there's no way I could say no. Love her confidence. Arizona's been there, done that. They did the battle tested in the Pac-12. Yeah, I think they get out of Fayetteville with another W.
For those of you who say that Shane is pessimistic, listen to that clip. Sounds pretty optimistic to me. For Shane Dale, I'm Eric Cohen. Thanks for listening as always. Bear down.